Good morning. Hey, it's Don Johnson doing our morning mindset training for service techs, plumbers, HVAC, electricians. We've been working on the greeting this week. I just wanted to kind of tell you this is what I'm kind of staring at. That's a reflection off the reflective windows and I guess French doors onto the screened-in porch. I'm sitting here enjoying that view. So you can be doing that too. Uh, Dedicate to your trade. Push through these difficult it's not hard to do what we're training you. It's not hard to do the things that make you successful. It's just easier not to. And that's kind of a famous Weldon Long comment. It's not hard to run a perfect sales call. It's not hard to do a perfect reading. It's not hard to ask for the order. It's not hard to write up a findings report. It's just easier not to. So, yes, let's take the path that we know we should take, and you're the only one who can make yourself do these things. So, just trying to bring these back, the morning mindset for the technicians, 10 minutes every morning at 7 o'clock is the ideal situation. Been working on the greeting this week. So again, we're going to kind of summarize that, be able to move on to the next step next week. So music in the background, I love the Eagles, so I have the Eagles playing a little bit, but the song After the Thrill Is Gone. Good morning, Kim. Thank you for joining me. After the Thrill Is Gone has a line in it that says, half the distance takes twice as long. Well, this is the time of the year, and it feels like the time of the economy, the time of consumers kind of burning out. Customers been buying a lot for their homes. People wanting to go back to travel. They don't want to do, they kind of burn out a little bit. But half the distance takes twice as long. In our business, that means that you're going to have to put out twice the effort, and you may only get half the results. And most of us, most of you, most people in general will say, if I'm going to put out if I'm going to put out twice the effort, if I don't get twice the results, I'm mad and I'm going to quit. Well, you can't quit. You have to put out twice the effort sometimes just to get half the results. That's what this time of the year feels like. A lot of times you guys have heard me talk about the customers treating us like we're trolls under the bridge. Oh, don't talk to those guys. But during the summer, they want to, you get calls from people who you haven't seen since high school saying, hey, how you been doing? Hey, can you come over here and look at our air conditioner? Well, that season is starting to end for most of us. It's very comfortable out here on the back porch. It's probably 70 degrees this morning. Very, very comfortable. So that season of being the superstar and the life of the party, so to speak, everybody wanting to talk to you, trying to get some free help from you, it's kind of ending. And now we're going back to wonder if people are going to treat us like we're trolls under the bridge. Well, happens every year. Oh, when they need us, they search us out, and the rest of the time they kind of avoid us and laugh a little bit. So it's trolls under the bridge season coming, so watch out. So again, back to the Eagles. Twice the distance takes, half the distance takes twice as long. We're going to have to put out twice the effort, most likely just to get half of what we did through our peak months in the summer for the HVAC guys. So just remember that. It's not wrong. It's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's the season. It's the time. It's the economy. It's the consumer that is kind of burnt out. You know, the customer, the economy, the conditions, the weather doesn't determine your success. It just determines how hard you've got to work. And I'm just here to tell you that this feels like the season we're going to have to work twice as hard and may only get half the results. But let's work on our greeting. Again, we've been working on it all week. I'm going to role play it one more time, and you should write this down. You should practice it. You could even, again, start utilizing it today on your service calls. Plumbers, electricians, HVAC service techs, if you're going out there and it's a demand call, it's an issue, this is the greeting that we teach. All right, teach my guys this for years, and now I'm just doing our morning meeting that I would have done in front of my company right here for you guys. So, hey, I'm here to take care of your air conditioner. I usually begin inside. Try to get in the house, even though they might tell you, hey, the air conditioner's around back, or it's in the garage. Now, dispatch has briefed me on your situation, but if you don't mind, in your own words, what seems to be going on with your air conditioner? Listen, listen intently, active listening, dynamic silence. A couple of the key trainers out there use those phrases. That's where your body kind of listens and acknowledges that you're listening. Your forehead kind of crinkles up like you're listening, maybe even turns a little sideways. Active listening. It's not fake. It's what you do when you really do want to hear what they say. And you've got to hear exactly what they say, because as soon as they finish, you're going to repeat it back. So if they say, my thermostat blanks, and I think something's wrong with my system. So your thermostat is blank, and you think something's wrong with your system? And if you say those last few words with that uptone, it makes it a question, and they may respond. And sometimes you'll get them to tell you really what's going on. Yeah, it's been like this for 3 weeks. My husband goes down there and resets a breaker, and we get it back for a couple of days, and it's out again. He resets a breaker, and it's out again. After you repeat the full one the first time, you can just repeat 3 to 5-ish words out of their phrase with that question, that concern, that confusion look. Gene Sladen, I like to call it the 11s. You'll see the kind of the crinkles in the forehead kind of turn into lines. It calls it the 11s. So you just kind of listen, and they'll tell you. It's different than your thermostat blank, and this thing keeps tripping the breaker every 2 or 3 days. Very, very different situation going on. It's not a thermostat issue. It's an overamp issue. It's a compressor. It's a breaker issue. It's a bigger power issue. People will tell you what's going on if you'll just get them talking, and the way you get them talking is you have to listen. So after you listen, it'll just kind of die down, and you just say, okay, no problem. When I run across a situation like this, I have a procedure I follow. First, I'll look everything over. I'll figure out the issue. I'll write it on a piece of paper. I'll put a price next to it, and I'll get your authorization before I do any work that's not covered under your warranty. Let's begin at that thermostat. Okay? So, back through that phrasing, got a couple of minutes here. I want to practice this, okay? When I run across a situation like this, I have a procedure that I follow. First, and I want to talk right there, is no pausing at the end of sentences. Conversational etiquette in this world is if I stop talking, the other person feels obligated to speak next. But if I stop in the middle of thoughts, in the middle of sentences, they'll give you just a little bit longer to pause before they cut you off, okay? And it allows you to take your break. So if you want to retain control of a conversation, you don't break at the end of paragraphs and the end of sentences. And again, if there's high school teachers out there, that's what we teach in high school. It's not how we speak, and it's not how conversations really work. And it's certainly not how we control conversation for sales. So when I run across a situation like this, I have a procedure that I follow. First, I'll look everything over. I'll figure out the issue. I'll write it on a piece of paper. I'll put a price next to it, and I'll get your authorization before I do any work not covered under your warranty. Let's begin at the thermostat, the panel, electrical panel, the sink that's clogged. Wherever they perceive the problem to be, just go to it. It's no big deal, okay? It's where you're probably going to begin anyway. A lot of times you're reading the notes on the drive to the house, and you just figure out that I know where the issue is. Well, don't solve it. Don't solve it so quick. Don't even tell them the answer right now. Just listen. Tell them you're going to look everything over, figure out the issue, write it on a piece of paper, put a price next to it, and I'll get your authorization before I do any work not covered under your warranty. Let's begin at the thermostat. Let's begin. Now, take it back to whatever your normal call would be. If you ask a few thermostat questions, I'm good with that. Just normally keep it set. Who in the home suffers from allergy the most? If you had to say which room was the most uncomfortable, which one would you say? Any of those lines I'm fine with. I'm not necessarily trying to change what you've done there. I'm just trying to get your intro to build your credibility and to build your trust. Listening builds trust. Repeating back phrases proves you listening. So that builds trust. And then telling your credibility, okay, no problem. When I run across a situation like this, I have a procedure I follow. First, I'm going to look everything over. I'm going to figure out the issue. I'll write it on a piece of paper, put a price next to it, and I'll get your authorization before I do any work that's not covered under your warranty. Let's begin at the thermostat. So that's about 10 minutes this morning. Take that, go out and use it. Next week we're going to start talking about dividing the calls into sections. Which ones we're going to talk equipment, which ones we're going to talk indoor air quality, which ones we're just going to make sure that we have happy customers for life. So we're going to get back into that next week. 7 a.m. every day is the plan. So appreciate guys coming on here. I see 2 or 3 people. Thank you very much for joining me, and we'll see you on Monday.